Hello and welcome to In Depth. I'm Tina Jha. The Japanese city of Nagasaki marked the 74th anniversary of the US atomic bombing in the Second World War. A solemn memorial ceremony was held at the Nagasaki Peace Park in the presence of Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, representatives from around 70 countries and hundreds of citizens. Speaking at the annual service, the Japanese Prime Minister pledged that Japan would continue its efforts to serve as a bridge between nuclear weapon states and the non-nuclear ones, and realize a world without nuclear weapons. On 9th of August 1945, Nagasaki was hit by an atomic bomb by the US forces, making it the second city to have endured atomic bombing after Hiroshima. The bombings on Hiroshima and Nagasaki killed at least 135,000 people, forcing Japan to surrender and thus ending the Second World War. But even after 74 years, both Nagasaki and Hiroshima continue to feel the impact of the destructive bombing. Today on the show, we take a relook at what led to the worst human tragedies in history and its impact on people as well as the world. Friday marked 74 years since an atomic bomb was dropped over Japan's western city of Nagasaki. At a memorial ceremony in the city, thousands turned up to observe Nagasaki Day. Even though the atom bomb ended the Second World War, Nagasaki and Hiroshima continue to feel the impact of the destructive bombing even today. More details of this ceremony in this report.
On August 9, every year, Nagasaki Day is observed in memory of thousands of people who were killed after the US dropped an atomic bomb in the city of Nagasaki in Japan in 1945 during World War II. To mark 74 years, hundreds of people attended a ceremony at Nagasaki Peace Park on Friday. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who also attended the ceremony, said he would take suggestions from Nagasaki to next year's Non-Proliferation Treaty Review Conference and actively work with other countries towards nuclear disarmament. Abe has been pushing to change Japan's constitution and enshrine the country's military in it. Changing the charter would be hugely symbolic, underscoring a shift away from post-pacifism, which is already underway.
この会議において意義ある成果を生み出すために、昨年11月にここ長崎で開催された核軍縮に関する賢人会議の提言等を十分踏まえながら、各国に積極的に働きかけていく決意です。
Meanwhile, the city's mayor called on Japan to commit to ridding the world of nuclear weapons and maintain a philosophy of peace within the nation's constitution. On August 9, 1945, a US warplane dropped 10,000 pounds of plutonium-239 bomb nicknamed Fat Man on Nagasaki. It exploded about 500 meters above the ground, instantly killing about 27,000 and 70,000 by the end of the year.
唯一の戦争被爆国の責任として、一刻も早く核兵器禁止条約に署名・批准してください。
私も死ぬまで核兵器廃絶を訴え続けます。それが74年前、広島、長崎の原爆で失われた20数万人の人の命、後遺症に苦しみながら生き残っている被爆者に報いる道だと思います。
When Japan refused to go for unconditional surrender, that's what the Americans were asking. And in this context, the Americans, the British, the French, they were the Allied were actually they were very put off, and they decided it was the American proposal that let's bomb, because just now we have discovered that thing was new for America. And Truman was the president at that time, and he said, I have a new thing with me. I'm going to try it on Japan. By this time, they had, on 6th August, if you remember, they had already bombed Hiroshima. Japan was still unsuppressible, and they wanted to further teach them a lesson. And that's, again, although it was a very inhuman act in history, it doesn't go down well.
A few years after the bombing, there was a spike in the incidence of leukemia among the survivors. Thyroid, breast, lung and other forms of cancers were also observed at higher than normal rates a decade later. Pregnant women subjected to the blast experienced higher rates of miscarriages and infant deaths, whereas children who were exposed to the radiation whilst in their mothers' wombs were born with intellectual disabilities, impaired growth and an increased predisposition towards developing cancer. Detonation of the plutonium bomb led to the radioactive dust particles falling out of the sky. Wind and water currents carried this dust across a much larger radius, effectively contaminating the ground water supply and food chain. The contamination also spread to crops, aquatic creatures and terrestrial animals. Scientists expect the effects of radioactive contamination to remain in the environment and the atmosphere for decades. With inputs from Leena Sharma, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
After Hiroshima and Nagasaki, all members of the United Nations pledged to reduce and restrict themselves from the usage of nuclear technology. Let's look at the successive United Nations resolutions that were enacted to stop misuse of nuclear power. Towards the end of the Second World War, tensions between the United States and Japan were at their peak, till the US dropped the world's most dangerous bomb on Hiroshima. The world was still absorbing the shock when the second nuclear bomb hit Nagasaki on the 9th of August. It signaled an end to the Second World War, but the wounds from it remained fresh. On 24th October 1945, the United Nations was established with the aim to prevent another such conflict. 51 countries or member states gathered in San Francisco that year to sign a charter to maintain peace. The United Nations now has 193 member states. The very first resolution of the UN General Assembly created the United Nations Atomic Energy Commission on the 24th of January 1946. The UNAEC was to seek control of atomic energy to the extent necessary to ensure its use only for peaceful purposes and for elimination from national armaments of atomic weapons and of all other major weapons adaptable to mass destruction. Since then, several steps were taken to eliminate nuclear weapons. The Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty was signed in 1968 by several major nuclear and non-nuclear powers that pledged their cooperation in stemming the spread of nuclear technology. Opened for signature in 1968, the treaty came into force in 1970. However, NPT had a major drawback in that two nuclear powers, France and the People's Republic of China, did not sign the agreement. Many non-nuclear states also did not sign the agreement. As required by the text, after 25 years, the NPT parties met in May 1995 and agreed to indefinitely extend the treaty. 191 states adhered to the treaty, though North Korea, that acceded in 1985, never came into compliance, announced its withdrawal from the NPT in 2003, following detonation of nuclear devices in violation of core obligations. 4 UN member states have never accepted the NPT, 3 of which are thought to possess nuclear weapons: India, Israel and Pakistan. In addition, South Sudan, founded in 2011, has not joined.
So the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty aims to regulate all the nations in terms of the use of nuclear bomb and such likes. But at the same time, it also, as India is not a signatory, so it also is a little degrading. The Indians have said this is not done, and because it will also make them deprived of the peaceful uses of nuclear energy. And that's one thing which the other countries are doing, those who are signed. And there's an IAEA, International Atomic Energy Commission, which looks after the peaceful uses and who's doing what. And NPT is enforced on most of the nations.
When the United Nations General Assembly met again in 1978, the issue of nuclear disarmament was discussed again. In 1982, more than 1 million people held the largest disarmament rally outside New York's Central Park. In January 1998, the UN Office for Disarmament Affairs was established by the United Nations Secretariat. Its goal was to promote nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation and strengthening of the disarmament regimes for weapons of mass destruction, chemical and biological weapons. The International Day Against Nuclear Tests is observed on the 29th of August. It was established on 2nd December 2009 at the 64th session of the United Nations General Assembly by the resolution which was adopted unanimously. Since then, many countries have expressed their resolve to create a nuclear-free world. After a high-level meeting on nuclear disarmament on 26 September 2013, the UN General Assembly designated 26 September as the International Day for Total Elimination of Nuclear Weapons. The UN Secretary-General convened the first United Nations High-Level Conference of Heads of Counter-Terrorism Agencies of Member States on 28th and 29th of June 2018 at the UN headquarters. The aim was to build a new partnership for multilateral cooperation to strengthen the international community's counter-terrorism efforts.
At international level, luckily, nobody else has shown any major interest into developing nuclear weapons, barring one odd case like Iran. And we all know how the conflict in Iran right now is at a stage where things are just not working out to the liking of the rest of the world. North Korea is again a state which has done lot amount of power building and giving certain amount of a messaging based on their nuclear tests. But during last few years, it has been seen there is a positive engagement which is happening between US and North Korea, and it appears that North Korea at least not go for a nuclear testing. They are doing smaller missile testing to give an indication to the US that we require certain amount of a dealing on the ground, but a nuclear testing appears to be slightly at a distant past.
When voting on the proposal was held, 137 countries supported it, 28 voted against it, while 20 countries did not participate in it. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And let's now take a look at the history of nuclear weapons in the world. In this report, we'll find out how the world has developed them and also what are the ways it has chosen to keep our planet free from these weapons.
In August 1942, over 130,000 people were working on a secret mission in America's Manhattan. 3 years later, on 16th July 1945, America conducted its first nuclear test in New Mexico, codenamed Trinity, for a cost of $25 billion. Just 21 days after the test, on 6th August 1945, America dropped the bomb on Hiroshima city, wiping out the city. America didn't stop there. 3 days later, it dropped another bomb to destroy the city of Nagasaki.
Broadly, one can say that the basic example of a nuclear weapons can be started, say, 1945 with the Manhattan Project. Subsequently, there are a lot amount of things which have happened. Lot amount of rule regulations have also come up. If you see the entire nuclear regime, there are a lot amount of restrictions which are there. All your disarmament groups like India is trying to get into NSG, and you got other groups also, MTCR and all that. Everything is either directly or indirectly related with stopping the spread of nuclear weapons, stopping the spread of the nuclear weapon delivery platforms. So there is good amount of work which has happened, and the world has got good amount of success. But the problem which comes up is that the treaties like NPT, which are totally discriminatory treaties. So the world will not see the end of the nuclear weapons as long as these sorts of discrimination will continue.
After the deadly nuclear massacres in Japan, shocked by devastation unleashed by the atomic bombs, on 24th January 1946, the United Nations pledged to make the world nuclear weapons free. But by then, it was too late. On 29th August 1949, the Soviet Union conducted its first nuclear test, codenamed RDS-1, in modern-day Kazakhstan. On 3rd October 1952, Britain conducted its first nuclear test, named Hurricane, at the Montebello Islands in Western Australia. On 1st November 1952, America tested its first hydrogen bomb. On 17th February 1958, the US disarmament camp was established. On 1st December 1959, 12 nations signed the Antarctic Treaty, making the Antarctic continent a demilitarized zone, thereby banning any nuclear test in the region. But nothing could deter the weapons race among the nations. On 13 February 1960, France carried out its first nuclear test in Sahara Desert. Soviet Union tested the largest nuclear weapon ever developed over Novaya Zemlya Island in the Russian Arctic Sea on 30th October 1961. On 5th August 1963, the Partial Test Ban Treaty was signed by representatives of the United States, Soviet Union and Great Britain in Moscow. The treaty prohibited testing of nuclear weapons in outer space, underwater or in the atmosphere. On 16th October 1964, China too joined the League of Nuclear Armed Nations, conducting its first test at the Lop Nu test site.
If you really look at it, the Second World War ended because of the usage of a nuclear bomb. So people understood that fighting a war, and particularly with weapons of mass destruction, is definitely not a good thing. If you see from the Second World War till the period of entire Cold War also ended, but there were no weapons which were used. There was only a threat of a usage of a weapon which was there. So after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, people understood that if you develop a very credible deterrence mechanism, then the enemy definitely gets deterred and you try to ensure that no major warfare takes place.
In view of the rising nuclear arms race among the nations, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty came into effect in 1970. But many countries continue to conduct nuclear tests, claiming national security to be the reason. On 18th May 1974, India tested its first nuclear weapon at Pokhran, codenamed Smiling Buddha. On 22nd September 1979, a nuclear explosion was carried out in southern Indian Ocean. It is believed that the explosion was conducted by South Africa with Israeli assistance. There was widespread opposition against nuclear weapons across the world. On June 12, 1982, in the Central Park of New York, more than 10 million people gathered against the nuclear weapons. On August 6, 1985, the South Pacific Nuclear Free Zone Treaty was signed. The South Pacific region was declared a nuclear-free from this treaty, which was signed in Cook Islands. The Israeli nuclear program was exposed on 30th September 1986. The Sunday Times newspaper published an article and claimed it had 200 nuclear weapons. On December 8, 1987, a treaty for limiting the weapons was signed between the Soviet Union and the United States. The agreement was reached to eliminate the medium-range missiles. During this period, many countries joined the NPT. On July 10, 1991, South Africa announced joining the NPT. It claimed to have destroyed all its nuclear weapons. On December 15, 1995, Southeast Asian countries declared to be nuclear-free. It includes Burma, Philippines, Laos, Vietnam and Indonesia. After this, on April 11, 1996, 43 countries of Africa signed Egypt's Pelindaba Treaty and declared themselves nuclear-free. On June 1, 1996, Ukraine on its own announced to be nuclear-free. On July 8, 1996, the International Court of Justice declared nuclear weapons illegal. On 24 September 1996, a Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty or CTBT was signed by the US, Russia, China, France and Britain. India refused to sign this treaty. Belarus also became nuclear-free on November 27, 1996. India carried out another test in May 1998. It was the same year when Pakistan also claimed to have carried out the test. After this, there was peace for some time, but in 2003, when North Korea announced of no longer being a part of the NPT, it raised a lot of concerns. On October 9, 2006, North Korea claimed to have conducted a nuclear test. It drew a widespread condemnation. On April 30, 2007, an international program was started in Australia to abort the nuclear weapons. Since 2003, many steps have been taken to save human civilization from arms race. The first humanitarian conference was held in Norway in March 2013. In February 2014, during a conference in Mexico, there was a demand for complete ban on nuclear arms. This demand was repeated in Australia too. On 7th July 2017, the United Nations adopted the Nuclear Weapons Ban Treaty. Two-thirds of the UN member states voted in favor of this treaty. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The existence of nuclear weapons poses the single greatest threat to humanity today. Activists and experts around the world call for complete nuclear disarmament for peaceful coexistence. But more than 7 decades after their use during the Second World War, nuclear weapons continue to be the basis for the national security policy of several countries. While the call for complete disarmament has led to several international and bilateral treaties, the world's combined stockpile of nuclear weapons remain at extremely high levels. In our next report, let's take a look at the efforts made for nuclear disarmament since the Second World War.
According to the latest report by the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, there were 13,865 warheads in existence at the start of 2019, which is 600 less than 2018, when a total of 14,465 warheads were estimated. All these nuclear weapons are owned by 9 nations: the United States of America, Russia, the United Kingdom, France, China, India, Pakistan, Israel, and North Korea. After the catastrophe in Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945, the destruction this bomb can cause became known, and since then, efforts have been made to put a stop to its use. After some early movements against the use of nuclear weapons, Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, commonly known as NPT, came into force in 1970. This agreement allows the 5 countries, the United States, Russia, United Kingdom, France and China, with existing nuclear weapons to maintain the devices, but not to trade them to non-nuclear states. Additionally, non-nuclear states who signed the treaty cannot develop nuclear programs of their own. However, nations are able to withdraw.
Right now, there is a slight amount of a disconnect between the countries which are having nuclear weapons and how the world, particularly the disarmament regime, looks at these things. The disarmament regime has come out with a pretty successful treaty called NPT. However, as per this treaty, only 5 countries in the world can hold nuclear weapons. That is the permanent 5 members of the United Nations. Other than them, no other country can hold these weapons. So definitely this is a very lopsided and a discriminatory treaty. So India has never joined this treaty, and India will never join this treaty, because India fully understands that you can't have a discrimination. You can't say that there are 5 countries which are so-called superpowers or a class A countries and rest of the world is a degraded world. On the basis of principles, India has ensured that India will not join NPT. So now you got countries like India, which is a nuclear weapon state but has not joined NPT. So theoretically speaking, if you look at it, only the nomenclature given by the NPT is to those 5 states as nuclear weapon states. But outside that, India, Pakistan, North Korea, and Israel has not exploded any bomb or tested it, but it is a known fact that they also have got these capabilities.
Some other treaties like the Strategic Arms Limitation Treaty, Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, and Strategic and Tactical Arms Reduction Treaty went into effect in 1969, 1988, and 1991 respectively. These agreements between the United States and the Soviet Union helped end the arms race between the 2 nations during the Cold War.
Nuclear disarmament has got a major relevance, and it has succeeded to a larger extent. But what happens is that nuclear disarmament is not only about nuclear weapons, it is about the weapon delivery platforms also. Recently, a very well conceived treaty during the period of a Cold War. It was a treaty which was signed by Russia and USA. Ronald Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev had signed this treaty called INF Treaty. This treaty, the US has come out of this treaty. This treaty is a treaty where land-based missile development was restricted. Like you can't develop missiles and test them between 500 to 5,500 kilometer range. But US has got certain amount of view that Russians have already started violating that treaty. There are a few other treaties which are there called START 1 and START 2 where you want to reduce the number of the weapons, but as of now nothing much is happening in that direction.
The next landmark agreement was the Joint Comprehensive Agreement on Iran's nuclear program, also known as the Iran Nuclear Deal. This deal prevents Iran from using its capabilities to develop nuclear weapons. However, in May 2018, the United States announced its withdrawal from the deal. The Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, or CTBT, adopted by the United Nations in 1996, is a multilateral treaty that bans all nuclear explosions for both civilian and military purposes in all environments. But the treaty has yet to come into force as 8 states, including US and China, have not ratified the treaty. India has not signed the treaty. Beyond the general desires for peace, what are the other reasons of international disarmament? Prohibiting weapons of mass destruction ends mutually assured destruction. MAD is a military concept that nuclear war has the potential to destroy the defender and the attacker in the case of retaliation. Without nuclear capabilities, nations have to rely on smaller scale attacks during armed conflict, which can help limit casualties. Without the threat of weapons, nations can rely on diplomacy instead of force. Nuclear war has significant environmental as well as health impacts. In addition to the destruction, the radiation can wreck soil and groundwater in the surrounding areas for decades. Extended exposure to high levels of radiation can cause deadly diseases and transgenerational genetic damage. Limiting nuclear spending also frees up funds for other government operations. Each year, tens of billions of dollars are spent on the maintenance of nuclear weapons globally. Experts argue that these funds can be better spent on healthcare, education, infrastructure, among other things. But nations in possession of nuclear weapons wish to maintain them for security purposes. By keeping a stock of nuclear weapons, nations claim that they and their allies have the capacity to defend themselves from an imminent attack or retaliate with a second strike. According to SIPRI, while there has been a decline in the production of nuclear weapons, the nuclear threat stays as states continue to modernize their nuclear arsenals. Till 2019, United States and Russia are the only nations to decrease their warhead inventory by 265 and 350 respectively. Britain, China, Pakistan, North Korea, and possibly Israel have all increased their number of warheads. India and France have seen no changes to the size of their arsenals. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
So that's it from us today in depth. We'll be back same time on Monday now with a focus on some other subject. In case you missed the television broadcast of the show, you can also watch it online on YouTube, the link for which is given below on your screen. Suggestions and feedback about the program are also welcome. Thank you very much for your time.